Hello, folks. Welcome to what is it? Live cardboard number 36. Yes, great to be back after my trip to Minnesota. Though I have to admit, I'm nowhere close to being unpacked or decompressed yet. Anyway, I've got some slides set up for later for what I recall from the games I played and the interviews I did. Although I'm sure to be missing a bundle. Though in terms of the interviews, you'll all be able to hear those as I roll them out over time. So you won't be missing anything there. Just be missing what I remember of my games, I guess. Yeah, hello to everybody who's already here. Good to see so many people here already. And yes, we've had a lot of chatter about the about the wildfires already, and we get it. Yeah, it's I guess it's us Canadians trying to sneak back and maybe let Mr. Trump have a little payback or something. I don't know. Anyway, I well, we'll see how tonight goes. Anybody can comment on anything anytime, as always. This is a bit of a different kind of a slideshow since it's not about any sort of like a company or a theme or anything like that other than the convention. So we'll see that. Anyway, before we get rolling, I encourage everybody to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, all that stuff. I think there's super stickers and all that super stuff is turned on. If you want to support the channel, become a patron through Ko-Fi. It's just like Patreon, just a different brand. There's details in the video description as well as at pushingcardboard.com. And thanks to all of you. See lots of my Ko-Fi supporters here tonight. Thanks to all of you who have become patrons. I really appreciate the support. And there's also those affiliate links for Cube for Me and Noble Knight. You can use those as well. Speaking of Cube for Me, it looks like I'm going to be increasing my relationship with them a little bit. Things have gone really smoothly so far, including the giveaways that we did a little while ago, and they had a look at my collection, and they asked if I want to make some custom storage packs for games that I have that fit holes in their offering. So I said, sure, I'll give it a whirl, and it might force me to get a few more games properly sorted and stored. So perhaps I'll be doing some more Cube for Me videos soon. Oh, hey, hello, Christoph. Hey, Bill Simoni. Very nice to meet you in the face-to-face. Finally, Bill. Now I'll be able to put a name to a face next time. Dave, Skyrider, William. Good to see you all. Okay, well, let's get straight on to the news here. Let's try this one. Okay, well, here we go. This was really interesting. Steve Negus, I'm not, Negus, has set up a Rally the Troops site for unpublished game prototypes. It's fieldofmars.com. Yeah, I put it right there. So there you go. He's asking people to come by and play the games that he's designed and that he's testing. And as well, if he let me know that it's open to anybody who wants to put their own game up there and get it tested. He's open to all that. I'll just read you what he wrote me, just because it kind of tells you what his games are about. He says, I currently have 3 on there: Angria, about corsairs in 18th century India; Digvayaya, about religious movements in medieval India; and Zapata, about the Mexican Revolution. The first 2 have been fairly extensively tested, but still need balancing, while Zapata is pretty new and definitely needs feedback. I'm anxious to attract players, so if you wanted to try it out or give a mention, I'd be very grateful. Well, here we go. I'm also more than happy to host other designers' prototypes if they fit within the general theme. So there you go. It's yeah, I like seeing another place doing the field Rally the Troops thing. Just filled me with joy. So there you go. Yeah, that may be that may be David. I don't know, or maybe they're just trying to get people. They're trying to not have to buy the games to make the kits. They want to find people who have the games to make the kits already. Yeah, I think there's a lot of a lot of strange sun going on with all the smoke in the air in eastern North America right now too. Anyway, that's the uh, Steve Negus who I just met. Very nice fella. Yeah, well, there you go. You can do research not just by books, you can do it by movies as well. Up next, I just wanted to mention that Armchair Dragoons have announced the dates for their fall assembly. Tickets aren't on sale yet, but there is a link to their tabletop events page where you'll be able to buy them eventually. It's in Cary, North Carolina, of course. What does it say? October 9th to 11th, 2026. And speaking of yeah, I know two games on historical India. That's something we just don't we don't tend to see. Anyway, speaking of conventions, Andy Rourke of Form Square Games has announced dates for his Square Bash 27. I think this is something they started last year. This is their second annual board game convention. The notice I received doesn't say what city it's actually in, just that it's at the Gatwick Europa Hotel. I'm pretty sure Gatwick is an airport, so it's going to be near London. The most I could find is someplace called Crawley, which I think is just south of London. So I'm sure somebody will straighten me out on that. Anyway, Andy's a great guy. If you haven't played any of his Limits of Glory games from Form Squared, try and get your hands on one. They're great. A that's a sort of a good question. I think the war game that I own that most needs a cube for me treatment might not be the same one that they need me to do. They might already have it, but I think well, in terms of my new games, I'm sure Three Dog, 3 Days of Gettysburg certainly needs the treatment for sure. Oh, great! Coast Watchers, great company says Coast Watchers arrived today. We saw, well, you'll see later. We saw a ton of Volko's games being. He was demoing all kinds of things. So we'll talk about a few of them as we go a little later on. In terms of new games coming, David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin's Rebels Against Rebellion is from Flying Pig Games. This is now announced. I think it's now available for pre-order or however. I think they do Kickstarter at Flying Pigs. I think that they're Flying Pig. I think that's how they do it. I just have a shot of the map here. It's a game about a county in Tennessee that refused to join the rest of the state when Tennessee seceded from the Union, declared itself the free and independent state of what was it called? I can't remember. Kelly or something. I can't remember. Anyway, it should be interesting. I got an invite from Flying Pig to have a look at the game on they've got a version on Tabletop Simulator that I think is private that they're using for play testing and whatnot. So I'm going to have a look at it there, and I'm going to try and talk David Thompson into coming on and maybe doing a teach and play using that. We'll have to see. Holy smokes, $73 for a counter organizer for Three Dog. And I mean, it's a big game. It's probably $100 game, but still $73. Jesus, might as well just punch me in the face. That's huge. Much like the GMT newsletter, there was a recent one from VUCA with a ton of information. The Far Seas, which I talked about on a recent podcast. That's now available for order. It's an interesting game. It's about German cruiser operations at the very beginning of World War I, and there's about 8 German cruisers scattered around the map, and then there's like about 40 British and Japanese and Russian ships hunting them down. But it's a two-player game. It does have a dedicated solo version. I really enjoyed it. So anyway, check it out. They also said In Forest to Heaven. I think this is available to be ordered now too. This is going to be available in August, whereas I think the Far Seas is available now. I saw a pre-production copy of this. I'll show you some photos a little later on. It's it's VUCA. It looks great. This, if you haven't had a look at this before, this is the invasion of Poland, of course, in 1939, but at a detail and with I guess a degree of detail that we've never seen before in any game we have on that topic. So often the Poland is like tacked onto some other game. This is like a monster game almost just on Poland. Totally agree. I think that one's going to come up next, maybe. Oh no, not quite. Imperial Elegy. They've got an update kit. They got some feedback when the game was released. Everybody really, there was a lot of buzz about this game. A lot of people played it. They had some feedback, some things that they improved, like new player aids and a new rule book, maybe some changes to a few rules. Anyway, they say they're providing it this update kit at cost, which is $10 US plus shipping. I ordered mine from they've got that two website thing. They've got one, the international, and one the US. I went on the international one, ordered mine from there. It was $14 Canadian, and the shipping was free. So check it out. I didn't mind paying $14 for that. I'm glad they're doing it. Announced as new things that are going on pre-order. This is Modern Tactics, the first expansion. This is British. And sorry, I'm just catching up on the comments. This is the Pacific Fleet that Wolfdog and Grey Company were talking about. And Christoph de Klerk. Hey, Christoph, good to see you tonight. This one really, I can't wait to see this one. This one really catches my eye for reasons we'll talk about a little later. And then also another new game on the 30 Years War, which is fantastic. And this one is by Brian Asklev, who is sort of my favorite designer right now. So I'm really looking forward to this. I played his Baltic Empires. I'll talk about that a little later. William, I think the people there in Eastern Tennessee probably feel the same way, and no doubt David and Trevor probably have done a fair bit of research into that as well. In terms of new games for me, I had none before none since I last talked to you when I left, but there was 3 from Revolution waiting on my doorstep when I got back. There was the latest Blind Swords, Early Threatens Washington. This will be Jubal Early, headed towards Washington. Monocacy, I don't know how to say it. Monocacy Junction. Anyway, I'm the same way, John. 30 Years of Misery. I'm just like, subject and designer, perfect combination. I'm going to get it. So the Blind Swords game. And then this is number 2 in this series. What do they call it? Great War Battles. That's the name of the series. This is Tankschlacht Cambrai, 1917. The first one was called Death of an Army, and I totally liked it. Really easy to get into. I shouldn't say not a simple, not a beginner game or anything like that. Just straightforward and no trouble to learn and get it on the table and play. So I'm really looking forward to this. And then, so those are both brand new, two new games from Revolution that I jumped on the pre-order price. And then since I was doing an order, I decided to get a Michael Ranella game that I hadn't picked up along the way, and that's Patton's Vanguard. So I think I probably have all of Michael Ranella's non-solo area impulse games from Revolution. Now I like them all. There, I mean, I like some better than others, but I'm a big fan of area impulse, as I'm sure most of you know. Yeah, that sounds familiar. That's, yeah, totally sounds familiar. I still don't know I still don't know how to pronounce it. I'm going to say Monocacy, but it could be Monocasey. I don't know. Who knows? Well, somebody out there knows. One of you guys know. Anyway, let's skip right along to the. Yeah, I totally agree. I like I like Mike Ranella's area impulse games. I also like his card driven games. Um, uh, both he has a couple of different types. Anyway, yeah, he's a good designer. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this trip down to down to uh, SD Histcon North. It could have been called SP Hiscon. It was in St. Paul, really. Anyway, I used to go to the conventions in California fairly regularly. But then, a couple of years ago, with change of government, there was a lot of stuff. There were the weirdness happening on the borders, and people were being detained or turned away or whatever. I don't know. It was hard to tell what was going on, and I decided to just take a break from it for. Well, I thought I might just wait out the president or until there was something that just said, "Hey, this is the borders are we're going to quit being so strange about the borders." But then I went, well, I'm not getting any younger and I want to go visit my friends in the States. So, and I hadn't heard any bad news at the local borders here for a little while. So I gave it a go and made it there no problem. It's a 2 day drive. It's like 20, depending on which route you take. It's a 2 day drive from here. It's like 20 hours in the car. I can do 20 hours over 2 days, no problem. I went to the border crossing in Coots. That's in Sweetgrass, Montana. I wanted to instead of going east and then south, I wanted to go south first and get the border crossing over with, because if anything did go wrong, I'd have a shorter drive home. But everything was fine, like I said. Anyway, headed south into Montana for a while because I love Montana so much, and then finally east. If you haven't been to Montana, Western Montana, super beautiful. Eastern Montana almost empty. It's like, I mean, Montana's not a very populous state, but everybody that is there is in the west and the south. The east is just this big, really uh, empty chunk of the state. The only people I really saw there was highway repair crews, and I thought, I don't know who they're repairing the highway for. There's nobody here. Anyway, I made it on that first night. I made it to Medora in North Dakota, and it's been in the news a little bit lately because, well, here's the hotel, and you can see it's when we think of the Badlands, we think of South Dakota. This is North Dakota, but they've got some Badlands too. It really reminds me of here in Alberta, around Drumheller, we have our own Badlands that look very much like that. Anyway, this Medora has been in the news lately because they just like maybe a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, they just opened the Teddy Roosevelt Presidential Library and the Teddy Roosevelt National Park there. It's all part of the same thing. So it was yeah, it is beautiful. It's a beautiful place. But I'll tell you what, it's Medora. That's a hotel just on the outskirts of town that I stayed at. Medora itself is only got 160 people. It's really a tourist town. It's there to service people coming to uh, Teddy Roosevelt National Park and now National Library. If you when you go into town, it's like it's all done up kind of old timey, like as if it was an old west town or something like that. If if you don't if you imagine it without the cars, you can imagine hitching rails and and stuff like that. Anyway, it was a lovely place. Had a lovely steak there at a restaurant. In the hotel, when you come out of the when you come out of the elevator, there's a giant display of guns of the Old West, the rifles up on the racks, and if you look closely across the bottom there, it's all pistols. You see like you be able to see old modern or famous guns like the Peacemaker and whatnot. Jeff, the speed limits in Montana are still it's 80 in a lot of spots through Montana. So the no speed limit side spirit sort of lives on there. Yeah, absolutely. This is, I mean, eastern Montana, southeastern southeastern Alberta, southwestern Saskatchewan, all good buffalo places for sure. Anyway, we this is I finally I finally got to St. Paul Thursday night. Um, I didn't start until Saturday, but I had a breakfast plan for Friday morning with that's Mike Smart, who many of you probably who probably you probably know if you don't recognize the face. That's Zilla Blitz. Many of you probably watch his videos. Yeah, that's I think that's actually probably true. Um, Oh, hey, Brian. No, yes, yes, it's true. I am pretty tall. I'm 6'6", so there you go. No problem not saying hello. There was a bunch of people that I didn't get a chance to say hello to, and I resigned myself to the fact that in a 2-day convention, it's just a whirlwind. You can't do everything. But anyway, I had a nice breakfast with Mike, and then Mike's from Minneapolis, so even though the convention started on was just Saturday Sunday, he'd set up a bunch of stuff for Friday, and I took part in the morning part of that. We Mike and I this is us with Jeff D and John Wolf, John Wolf Dog, who uh, just chimed in the chat there. If you've seen John and I are similarly have similar heights, although I probably have 100 or so pounds on him, but I'll just take that as the years. Anyway, this is us with that's Volko at the end of the table. We're playing his game Masher, which is the latest game in first there was Coast Watchers, which is somebody just got it today, and then next out will be Draken, and the third one is this one Masher, which is Vietnam. Really, really interesting game. It's well, I think I've got a I think I've got a slide of the map. Yeah, well, you can sort of see it here. The NVA and the VC, they're all the hidden pieces. So they're the in this recon series, one side has the blocks and they're stood up and they only face them. That's the NVA and the VC in this game. The US and the ARVN are searching and destroying, but often they aren't sure what they've destroyed, and they don't find out till the end. And the game has got it's a bit of a gut punch when you're playing the American side, in that when the scenario is over and you find out there's a final tally that you're not totally aware of how much of the how much of the NVA and VC you killed, and how much of what you destroyed was civilian casualties. And Mike and I, as the USA, we performed sort of like the real USA. We killed far too many civilian, had too many civilian casualties, and lost, which is I think you could say we sort of had a historical there. Yeah, John's 6'8", and I'm 6'7". Although I'm probably more like 6'6" now. You know, the older you get, I've started to shrink. It's not. It's not. Yeah. The first time I got myself measured and I noticed that I was down half an inch, it was a very weird day. That's all I'll say. Yeah. Yeah. John liked it as well. Obviously, it's a cool looking game. That evening there was a pre-event mixer at a local bar. I don't have any photos from that, but I ran into lots of friends and whatnot from previous conventions, including Mark Herman was there, and I guess he must have really enjoyed his live stream, his live teach and play that he did with all of us about a month ago, because he saw me and he just gave me a giant hug and drugged me over to meet his son, who's also named Grant. So anyway, we'll hear from more a little bit later. The next morning, Saturday morning, first game was La Der de Der with Mike S. from Minnesota. That's him on the left, and that's our good friend Dumpty here, David Histcon. David wasn't playing, but David had already played the game at least half a dozen times, and Mike had only played it once. I hadn't played it at all, so David very kindly sat in and helped us along with the rules. So we had the rules pretty well, but whenever we were about to make a mistake, he would speak up. And whenever either of us was about to make a really stupid move, he didn't really speak up, but he sort of cleared his throat and we rethought. Yeah, William, I think you're totally right. That the thing that I kept thinking about with all that stuff in Masher was it reminded me a little bit of a Amabel Holland game, in that it's like a really good game, and yet gives you a bit of a gut punch, which I thought was not something I always get from local games. Not I don't expect them, but it was really interesting. Anyway, that was La Der de Der. I played a bunch of good games, so I'm not going to be able to say which game was my favorite for the weekend, but whatever my favorite was, this one is tied with it, or this is it. I really enjoyed it. I know my buddy Mike Zilla. He said he finds it a little bit too abstract. I didn't find it too abstract. I mean, there's nothing tactical about it. There's nothing even operational about it, really. But it's just this cool game where it's all about production. You've got a technology track, and then also you have to decide where you're gonna basically just spend that production. And that production, it's just a single value that takes in money, material, and manpower. It's really, really interesting. What was next? Oh, yes, of course. First it was that, and then more of Histcon and Wolf Dog. John had brought his copy of Brett Walda. That wasn't a game that I wasn't familiar with it ahead of time. It's probably not the kind of game that I would buy, because it's super. It's really high on the game scale and really low on any kind of history scale. But on the other hand, as a game, it was fantastic. We had a great time. David Histcon managed to edge the two of us out, but we all felt like we were in it right till he until he managed to whack me. Um, I'm not sure. In terms of the tech tree in La Der de Der, I don't know about tactical developments, but there's offensive tech you can buy. There's defensive tech. Like the first defensive tech anybody can buy is machine guns, obviously, and then there's improved entrenchments and things like that. But tactical, I'd have to think about that. What's really interesting about the tech tree is when you have to buy a new tech, it's free for the main powers on each side. So it's free for France, it's free for Germany. But if you want to spread that tech out to your allies like Russia or Austria or whatever, you have to pay for each level that it bumps up. So the two main powers, their tech just goes up as soon as you develop it. But the side powers, well, there's a lot of trade-offs. I didn't pour a lot of money into Italy for example. It was interesting decisions. It really made for interesting decisions in a way I hadn't seen before. I think actually I think maybe John. And I don't know if David, back on that Friday, there's a bunch of people playing Sovereign Shogun. I think I thought I saw somebody had a prototype of it or something on that Friday pre-convention thing. Anyway, I played with these guys. We had a great time. I think we got it all done in under 3 hours. I don't recall it being like, yeah, there we go. I don't recall Brett Walda being super long or anything like that. Anyway, managed to slip away for a quiet dinner. We were in this beautiful building, Union Station. I guess it must be an old train station or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, it must be. That's got to be what it was. Anyway, the ceilings are epically high. This is a restaurant just in the interior courtyard. But the whole building, like the rooms we were in, were super high and beautiful like this. Anyway, managed to sneak out for a dinner with David Thompson and Mike Smart, but I snapped this pic before anybody arrived. So I don't have. There we go. Yeah, that makes sense. Still operates as a train station. It's a big sprawling affair. Really, really wonderful building. Plenty of room for all of our games. It was great. Anyway, had dinner and then zipped back and did my interview with this fella. This is Wes Crawford. He's half the team behind the new publishing house Wharf Rat Games. It's him and Ryan Heilman. That's it, I think. You'll be able to hear that interview on an upcoming podcast, of course. But really interesting guy to talk to. His day job, he's been like he's a drummer. He's a jazz drummer. He's been a pro drummer for the last 35 years. He's got several irons in the fire. Wharf Rat, the first game that they're rolling out is by Herman Luttman, so they got a real ringer to do the first game for them. I think Wes has got a game that they're going to put out as well, but Wes has also got a couple games coming out from Worthington. So he's sort of a prolific guy. He's got a bunch of irons in the fire. Anyway, I come back out of that interview. It's about 8:30 at night by this time. The venue closes at 10. I'm thinking I'd like to just call it a day. It's been like, I've had a pretty big day as it is, and I run into Mark Herman, and he says he wants to play one more game. even though he's been playing all day. So who am I to say no? He says he'll teach me his Pericles game. So we round up the leaning oddly beside me. That's Dan Picaldi from the Chit Show. Artie brought Dan with him. Dan came down from Montreal, and Artie came over from Ohio. I had it was, yeah, exactly. It was the Dan experience. It was me and Dan versus Mark and his son. That's his son Grant there. Mark, of course, great teacher of that game. Fantastic game. Bit like there's a lot to unload in terms of like seeing how all the systems work. But once you've unloaded it all, it's super fun. It's chaotic. We had a ton of laughs, and then of course, Dan is just firing questions that feel like complete non sequiturs and have us all laughing. And also, it was late at night, so we Mark and Dan worked to outdo each other telling slightly dirty jokes. So it was a great time that way as well. Anyway, that was a great way to finish off the evening. I'm always Mark Herman is like, he's just such a game player, just like same generation. John Butterfield. It'll be like 9 o'clock, and he's done a game. He'll start up another one, and he'll play till 10, and then say, "Hey, let's leave it set up. I'll meet you back here in the morning." It's these old designers, man. Well, I hesitate to say old. They're probably less than a decade older than me, but they go hard, and yeah, and that's totally right. It's a unique set of mechanics, unlike anything else. It's 2 versus 2, but also within your 2, it's 2 versus 2 in terms of the war, but within the 2, you're 2 different political factions basically. So you gotta Dan and I needed to cooperate and then fight a little, and that was super fun. Anyway, I got some sleep, back at it first thing the next morning, and I played Baltic Empires. I was hosting this game, but there was three games of this all going on at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. This is another Brian Asklev game. The Great Northern War. This is it's a 5-player game, but we played 4 players. You can see the 4 player is really interesting. So there's Denmark, Sweden, Poland, and Russia. That's who's there. The fifth power is Prussia and Brandenburg, and it's a much smaller power. If you play if in a 5-player game, whoever plays that, they have much less to work with, less units, just less everything, less space, all that kind of stuff. But this game has completely asymmetrical victory conditions as well. And the 4 bigger powers, the victory conditions are asymmetrical, but they're kind of heavy. Whereas if you're Prussia Brandenburg, the victory condition is merely to ensure that none of the other 4 succeed. And that's sort of interesting. The other 2 tables played that way, but because we were playing the 4-player version, the really cool dynamic is at the start of every turn, the 4 players, the 4 main powers, bid a secret bid. It's not like an auction; it's a bid. They bid money and goods to see who gets to control Prussia, Brandenburg, for that turn. So the Poland and Russia, it's Prussia's right between Poland and Russia there, and they were constantly having to try and outspend the other person to gain control of Prussia, because then you can use Prussia to attack your enemy without any loss to you. It was a great game. Yeah, ours ended surprise too. the thing to remember about this game, I would say, if you haven't played this game before, Russia starts out in a really dominant position, and everybody else needs to be aware of that and not let that sneak up on you. It surprises you a bit because it looks like Poland is in leads in two of the three tracks at the start of the game, but if anybody leads in all three, they win the game. Well, so of course we were keeping our eye out for Poland because they started by leading two out of three, but by the third turn in our game, Russia had taken all three. So that's something we really learned. I think one of the other tables, Russia and won as well, but the third table Sweden won. So it's not like Russia always wins, but I do think it's something you have to keep track of. Yeah, that's the thing with the Prussians, right? They start out with two areas: the one that's Prussia, the other one that's Brandenburg, and they're not even connected. So you're really left just hanging out there in the wind. The good thing is there's a bunch of non-player territory there as well in there. That's at least it's not an enemy to it's not an enemy to Prussia Brandenburg, but still, I think that four-player version was really good. In the front, that's Paul Schulzenberg and Tara King. And then the back left in the blue shirt, that's Stephen Negus, who I told you about before, the guy I mentioned who has the Rally the Troops site for prototypes. He was playing Poland. Really interesting guy, nice guy. Yeah, well, failing every die roll is a sure way to lose as well. And Sweden starts out pretty strong as well. Sweden starts off with a decent army. Denmark starts out with a good navy. Oh, there you go. So Mark here played Baltic Empires last Saturday and won as Prussia. Fantastic. So just goes to show that Prussia can win. I also did read, not here, but I read about a group that were playing the four-player. Prussia is not even a player, and somehow they finished the game and Prussia won because none of the four of them managed to win. So that sounded pretty funny. Anyway, after that, I got in a second interview. This time it was with Sam London, who you can see here in his tricorn. He's actually he's demoing his Microverse game. I think the tricorn is for his Common Sense game. Again, I'll have the interview out fairly soon on the podcast. Sam is a guy that lots of people probably don't know yet, but everybody's going to know him soon because he has so many games in the pipeline. Just with GMT, he's got Microverse, which I think is going to be one of those games that sells really well for GMT. It goes beyond it's sci-fi, it's space stuff, and it's easy to learn and fun to play. So I think they're gonna do well with it. He's also got a game called Firefight Tactical, which is a World War II tactical game. It's a dice drafting game, which will totally turn off old school grognards who want their hex encounter games. But if you're open-minded, I played it a couple years ago and it's fantastic. And then he's also got this Common Sense game, which is also, I think it's like cards and dice, but has a map board. It's got a point-to-point map board. All that's just from GMT, and I think that's the order they'll probably come out. But then he's got some games placed with other publishers as well. And during the convention, he told me about another game, and then by the time the convention was over, he'd had a handshake deal with the publisher that was at the convention that publisher was going to take on that game. So I don't think I can talk about what the game was And to tell the truth, I actually can't remember details of the game clearly. So, but anyway, Sam's going to explode, and it's going to be Sam London games all over the place. I think Sam's day job actually was in and is in video games. So he's one of those guys that's taken what he's learned from years and years in video and taking it over into tabletop, and we're all going to benefit. Yeah, the guy dreams games, I think, pretty much. Yeah, that's the Bill. That's exactly it. A trick-taking mechanic for an American Civil or for an American Revolution game. You think, that doesn't sound like that's for me. I don't know about that. I felt the same way when I first heard about a dice drafting game that's World War II tactical. That doesn't sound like it's for me. And then it's like it's fantastic. It's great. Yeah, I think Sam's games are going to succeed. I think we're all going to like. Everyone's going to find at least one or two of his games that they like. Here's a closer look. Sorry, I should have showed you this before. This is a closer look at his Microverse game, and this I think the game comes with like maybe like 6 alien races in the box or something. It's one of those games as I understand it, that there's like a lot of lore. He's written a bunch of lore for each race and whatnot, and I think we hear it in the interview, but he's got probably like 5 boxes of expansions that he could work on right away. He's just got so many other aliens or races or what have you, or races and places, I guess. Yeah, there you go. 20 in the box, another 80 or so for expansions, right? So yeah, so he's got another 5 boxes worth, or another 4 boxes worth ready to go. So if it takes off like GMT thinks it will, and I think a lot of us think it will, it's going to be. It's not as silly. It's not as silly as Cosmic Encounter. I don't know. Cosmic Encounter isn't exactly silly, but I played that game a ton when I was in college, and we laughed our asses off when we played that game. That's why what I used to find silly about it was every time we played, it'd be new. You'd have a new alien, and it'd be a new group of aliens, and it would always be surprising how they interacted with one another. No 2 games felt the same. I feel like the Microverse is going to be a bit the same way. Okay, well, there you go. Thumbs up. Cosmic Encounter is silly. Yeah. Anyway, that's Sam. The Sam London experience is coming your way. All right. So after that interview, it was time for my final game of the weekend, and this was a game I had played before. This is me with Mike Smart, Zilla Blitz, Liz Davidson of Beyond Solitaire, and also of Leader Games. That's Luke Evison. No, I can't remember his last name. He was at the convention representing Osprey Games, and then of course David Thompson on the end. We played Crisis 1914 and went down to the wire. This was an interesting one. The war never got triggered, so we went through all 6 turns and then and determined the victory that way. But there's a ton of laughs along the way, and a lot of trying to get each other, and especially between David and Liz, because they're sort of best friends. So that's I'd sort of planned that for me to be my last game, and try and arrange to play it with some pals, and it worked out well, and it was a great way. But I still I finished that game at like maybe 3 in the afternoon. I still had a long way to go in terms of getting some more interviews in. So had a little break, just not, just a bottle of water and a snack or whatever, and interviewed Liz. And so, as I said, she's got her own podcast Beyond Solitaire, which she's been doing for a long time. Like I think she's got a couple hundred episodes at least, I think, and it's not like she does them weekly or anything. She's been going for quite a while. Anyway, she's also a game designer. She started designing with her pal David Thompson, and their first game is just being released now from Fort Circle. It's Night Witches, a solitaire game on female Soviet night bombing and strafing pilots in World War II. And now she got a job with Leader Games, and just like 6 months ago, she was promoted she's now the creative director at Leader Games. So she's kind of on fire. Well, I don't know. Everybody's experience is valid, Jason. If you didn't like Crisis 1914, that's totally fine. I didn't feel like my actions were railroaded. I felt like I was always trying to decide between how much to spend and how much to back off. I got myself in a bit of a bind, but I think I came in second or something. So I didn't do badly, but I felt like in that game I felt like I did last time I played, where every turn I was trying to figure out just how far I could push it, and that's what the game's all about. Yes, she's got Queen of Spies out from Salt and Pepper as well. I didn't mention that one as being out because I know, like, I've got my copy, but I'd heard that like certain countries have got their copies so far, but other countries haven't quite got it yet. And I didn't know if it seemed like the U.S. was one of the countries that was it was taking a while for it to come out. Anyway, she's got a couple other games in development and stuff. She's just got a lot going on, and her podcast is really interesting because as well as doing designer interviews and all the sort of stuff that a lot of us do, she also tackles some interesting subjects. Like she'll a recent example is she did an episode on historicity in games, and tried to draw a line between authenticity and accuracy, meaning I think sort of, does the game feel authentic? Is this like an authentic way something could have happened, whereas accuracy is like more like being on the rails, sort of. It's more nuanced than that, but she tackles that sort of topic from time to time, like just bigger ideas, and I'm glad we have her for that. Yeah, and she was showing off Night Witches. Her and David were showing off Night Witches at the convention, because I think it's set to ship really soon. Oh, well, there you go. USA was last, and Wolfdog got his as well. So Queen of Spies is out as well. Okay, so everybody's been fulfilled then on that. Then I did another interview after Liz. I talked to on the left there. That's Kevin Bertram of Fort Circle. He's playing his game Hulls of Montezuma with Volko Ruhnke. He gave me a rundown of when their games will be coming out. They were one of the companies that really got messed up by the when the tariff situation hit. They had a bunch of stuff in China that was suddenly too expensive to bring home, all that sort of thing. And then I think there was a problem with one of the games. They had to get it reprinted or something like that. Anyway, their printing schedule got backed up. Oh, and then Kevin said the other thing he said was, he really likes the printer that they use in China, but they're very they're small potatoes for that printer. So once the tariff thing started to resolve, they were like last in line once the printer started printing stuff for the U.S. again. Anyway, he gives in the interview he gives a rundown of all the of what's coming when, and we also talked a lot about if you've bought any if you have any Fort Circle games, you'll have noticed this. They put a crazy amount of historical material in the box, beside like not just designer notes, but just like huge essays or facsimiles of documents, like just all kinds of stuff. They go to like 200%, 300% more than anybody else does. They're just crazy about added historical value in their games. And of course, Kevin's really upfront about the fact that he doesn't care if his games cost a little more. He likes he wants to put out super high quality components. So somebody asked him, what do you look for in a game? And one of the first things he says is, I like it if they have wood bits. I don't like cardboard counters so much. I want wood. I want big tactile wood bits. So that's great, but you're gonna pay for it as well. Okay, we're getting close to the end. It's going to be a shorter night tonight unless we all start talking about something. I have one more interview. Oh, I should catch up on the. Yes, that's right. Yes, John. I should have mentioned. Yeah, that's good to remember. So, one of Liz's other games, she's got a Machiavelli game coming that is built on the bones of the Here I Stand system. So, I mean, like, doesn't a Machiavelli themed game sound perfect for that system? It sounds totally perfect for that. I can't wait to see that. Uh, I I I enjoy Here I Stand. I think it's a terrific game, but it's a bit of a brain burner for me. I think I really enjoyed Baltic Empires because it felt like uh, I was getting like 85% of Here I Stand fun, and only having 50% of the brain burn. So there we go. Hey, good to have you. Good to have you, Gray. We'll see you next time. You can catch this video will be on the YouTube forever, so you can catch the rest of it later if you want. Yeah, Kevin did. He talked a bit about Halls of Montezuma. It's sort of like a follow up to his Shores of Tripoli game. Obviously, the but he has a co-designer in this one, in Halls of Montezuma, and he said the other one, Shores of Tripoli, was his first game. Halls of Montezuma, he's been in business that much longer. He's got a co-designer pushing him a little farther, and he said there's quite a few new mechanisms in Halls of Montezuma, and he thinks there's just more game there. So, so maybe it'll be, yeah, I don't know. Shores of Tripoli for me, I liked it, but I found it a bit on the light side for me. So maybe Halls of Montezuma is just going to bump that system up into more a zone that I find more engaging. Or maybe I just need to go back and play Shores of Tripoli again. Sometimes you try something and you dismiss it too quickly. Happens all the time. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 50% of the brain burn and only 25% of the rules. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. First Monday in October. That's their Supreme Court game. And yeah, it's coming out. It's coming out as well. Fort Circle, because they had a bit of a backlog. A bunch of stuff is going to pop out quite quickly. Yes, Foxes and Lions. That's Liz Davidson working with someone other than her best friend. But I don't. is that the name of the Machiavelli game, or is that a Jonathan, or is that another game altogether? I've seen the title, but I wasn't sure if it. I can't recall if it's if it's the same game as the Machiavelli one. Okay. Uh, one last interview, and that was with that was with Patrick Gebhardt of VUCA, who's seen on the left here checking his messages while playing World Order with Ardwolf and the gang. Um, that yeah, okay, so that is the here that's the Machiavelli game. Yeah, so that's it. Good. That's a good Foxes and Lions. Perfectly good title, although it doesn't say anything about Machiavelli to me. So I hope it's got some good picture of old Machiavelli on the cover or something. Yeah, Kevin mentioned that basically Kevin Bertram and Jason Matthews are best friends, and Kevin uses whenever he's thinking of releasing something, he has to run or signing something. He runs it by Jason, and if Jason doesn't give it the thumbs up, Kevin doesn't sign it. Basically, I don't know if that's actually true, but that's about it. Anyway, yeah, there's Patrick on the left. By the time Patrick and I spoke, it was about 8:30 on Sunday night. And I still have to edit that interview because partway through, someone came up and basically said, "You have to get out of here. Turn the lights off when you're done." Anyway, in the interview, Patrick gives a rundown of what's coming from VUCA, most of which I talked about already in the news segment. But he did have prototypes of Enforce to Heaven, that Poland 1939 game, and Pacific Fleet. So I'm just gonna share a couple of photos of those. Yeah, I think we were both overwhelmed. I think the good thing there was Dan wasn't playing in either the Imperial Elegy game or the World Order game there. Dan does not like long games, so that's probably a blessing. Anyway, here's the there's the box cover for Enforced to Heaven. That I mean, VUCA just knocks it out of the park with this stuff. I think that's just like totally really arresting cover design. Once you open her up, there's a ton of stuff in the box, and this was really interesting. Patrick said, going forward, they're adding in much more historical information, more than just your typical designer's notes. And I just felt like, deja vu, because I just a previous interview with Kevin. I mean, we talked about how much historical stuff that Fort Circles has always put in the box, but it was interesting that Patrick said they want to start putting in a ton of stuff as well. Like at least one or two of those booklets is just like essays or something. Patrick talked about this, and his partner Julius Brunken came by later, and they both talked about it's their idea that they hope to attract more non-war gamers, make it easier for non-war gamers to understand what's going on by adding more historical information in the games. I don't think that's going to help at all with a game as big and with as much going on as Enforced to Heaven, but I think it'll help plenty in games that are not so huge. Now, that's not to say that this material isn't valuable for this game, because it's not just aimed at new players and dragging them in or anything like that. For a lot of us, we know we know the bare bones of Poland 39, and we may have the, sort of the cliche image of the Poles on horses with swords drawn facing the Panzer ones and Panzer twos. But there's just so much more to the whole story than that. And of course, the designer here is a Pole, and so he's researched this. Well, it's a passion project. It's like he's gone to obsessive detail, and this is as detailed a treatment of the Polish campaign as anybody's ever going to want. This is a really cool idea from VUCA. The In Forest to Heaven is the first game that's going to have this. What you're looking at are stickers, not for blocks or anything like that. These are stickers to put on either your trays or your baggies, whatever you use to store your units. So it suggests obviously how you divide up the units, but I think this is fantastic. Like I've got one of those. You type in a title and then it prints it out, and you put the sticker on. That's how a label. I got a label maker. That's the way I've been doing it. But like, isn't this better? Like, isn't this just crazy good? Well, I'm sorry to backtrack here. This is the Foxes and Lion cover, famous De Tito portrait, which I think I know, but black and vermilion are great. That's great. Perfect colors. And yes, I think Dave is talking about these stickers. It's isn't that great? And I don't know if Patrick was sort of saying he wanted to do this in all the games, and Julius was sort of saying, well, we could pick which games we do this for, and Patrick was no, we need to do them for all. That's that's sort of we'll have to see how it goes, but I hope it happens for all their games. Yeah, it's a bit like that. Cube for me, you can get those stickers to go on the far ends of their trays like that. But anyway, just like full color stickers. What a fantastic idea. I should write Patrick and let him know how much everybody thinks it's a good idea, so he doesn't back off of it, and he doesn't let Julius talk him out of it. Not that I think Julius wanted to. I just it was just interesting to watch them go. Are we going to do this? I think we'll do this. Well, let's not commit to it. That sort of thing. We'll see. Anyway, it was they were trying to kick us out of there, so I only got a single picture of Pacific Fleet, and perfect timing for this comment. VUCA, as always, great graphics. That's a great cover. This Pacific Fleet game, this and probably the 30 years game are the two that I'm looking forward to the most. The Pacific Fleet game, this is I think a reprint, not just a reprint. I think it's a redone version. This is the Pacific War from the designer is Japanese. That's what I'm trying to say. So the game, I think, starts in like maybe 37. It starts with Japan versus China, I think. I just think it's really interesting. We probably have 100 Pacific games by American designers from an American point of view. I think it'll be really interesting to get more of a Japanese perspective. I read some of the designer's notes from the original, no, not the original. The VUCA has the rule books online, and I was interested in this game, so I started looking at the designer's notes, and it was really interesting because he talks about the fact that, in essence, Japan had no chance to win, and he said. When he was designing that game, that had to be, that had to be apparent. And he said he felt really bad because there was a lot of young Japanese men that were looking forward to his game, and he knew that he was going to be sort of harshing their mellow. They not that they're nationalists or anything, but they want to feel good about their country. And basically, he was saying we never had a chance from the get go. Particularly when there were no carriers in at Pearl, so that made a big difference as well. But just reading the designer's notes from a Japanese point of view was really interesting as well. Yeah, yeah. The whole thing is hefty, but it has that's the scenario book there. It's going to have a ton of scenarios. It didn't look it didn't look as intimidating to me as, say, Pacific War was before Mark Herman taught it to me. I don't think I think I'll be able to just teach this to myself, and I'm not going to have somebody come and do a teach and play. But we'll see. I mean, if I'll have to be honest, I'll have people come and do teach and plays on the channel even when I already know the game, because I just think I just think teach and plays are so fun to do. Yeah, that's partly what I'm always interested to see in a Pacific game, right? Like we're always any game in the Pacific, and any naval game period, how they handle the hidden information. That's always the key to whether the game works or not. Okay, well that's the only picture I have of that. I have a few other pictures from the convention that I want to just pass along, just through just just a couple, and then we'll be done. We can talk about whatever. This is the gang. That's Gary on the left, that Ardwolf, and Patrick in the sort of in the center there. Those guys played Imperial Elegy. They played all day Saturday, as in basically from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then they played half of Sunday and finished it. Obviously, Imperial Elegy takes a while. I'm not sure that it has to take as much time as it took them, because of course it started out as a bit of a teaching game. And also, I heard that there was a player or two who waited until it was their turn to decide what they were going to do. So there was a bit of you always hope somebody's ready to go when it's their turn in a big multiplayer game like that. But anyway, it may be a long game, but it's obviously a good game because everybody stuck with it. Everybody was totally into it and constantly talking about it. So that was, but it was fun to just keep going by this big table and watching them play it and play it and play it. Yeah, I think I think that they probably. I'm sure they expected that they could do it in a day rather than a day and a half, and I think that's probably more the case. And also, I don't know if the game has to go all the way down to the wire, or if there's a possible sudden death that can happen along the way as well. I have no idea, but anyway, hats off to them for sticking out and playing that big game. This is the other one I wanted to show you because it was so interesting. You can't see him, but because he's hidden by that screen, but he's right at the back there in the white pants and t-shirt, sort of. That's Dan Bullock. He's conducting a double-blind playing of his new Victorian prison design game. It's a game where you have to design a prison. In Victorian London. I don't know I don't think the game needs to be done double blind. I think that was just something they did for the convention because it was something they could do. But I think he did it twice. I think he did it once each day and attracted a whole whack of people both days. Yeah, that's it. That's the name of it. Penitent. That's it. If you haven't checked out Dan Bullock's games before, he does really interesting stuff. Often it can be pretty edgy as well. I mean, designing a game how to design a prison, that's pretty edgy, and a very nice guy. Um, yeah, that's absolutely true. I think his most approachable game is an early one that was just about David Bowie. But other than that, it's uh, he picks stuff that interests him. That's not on the that's a little off the beaten track, which is great. Uh, well, not just off the beaten track. He picks games and he designs games. He's another one that's a bit like Amabel Holland in that he's often got a point that he's making with the games that kind of he puts you in an uncomfortable position and makes you and then lets you sit and stew in it for a bit. Yeah. Is that the one with the guillotine? I'm not sure. Or no, maybe in the shadows. Maybe that's the one about the resistance. I can't remember. I haven't played them. Oh, this is good to know. Going back a minute, Bill says that Imperial Elegy can end earlier than the bitter end. Um, well, so that's my last. I my last shot after I did that interview with Patrick. That was yeah, okay, yeah, resistance. That's right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. I guess that would be one. That would be one design for a prison. Is you just design a large ship with a big cargo hold. that, although uh, Jonathan Dyer, well, it's probably doesn't want to hear anything about that. Maybe. Yes, I want to see this game as well. It's hard to get a hold of a copy of that, but yeah, I think it's called. I just think it's called 1979 or something like that. The his it's about the Iran Revolution, basically. Okay, so I hit the road. I have two road pictures just because well, just because this is in Minnesota. This is giant power lines, right? This isn't just your regular power pole. Um, sorry, I had to. I just I wasn't trying to make that point. I was saying maybe they didn't need any more. Maybe they didn't need any more reminding. That's all I was saying. Anyway, what was wild was like you can see how that's not just a power pole. That's like a main trunk line electricity line, right? It's like I don't know, 200 feet in the air, whatever. Anyway, I'm driving along. At first, I think it's a drone. Then I realize it's a real helicopter. You can't. It's not in this picture. I couldn't snap it. I just took this picture to show you the size of it. There's a man standing on the rail of the helicopter, like, and he's strapped. He's got a strap around his waist. He's anchored to the inside of the helicopter. The helicopter is hovering perfectly, not moving up or down, forward or back, and the man is doing work on the power line from the helicopter. It's just mind boggling the degree of precision with the pilot of the damn helicopter. Just amazing. And and of course it goes without saying the courage of the guy to stand on the line. Yeah, they were that's exactly it. They've they were putting some new line in. I'd seen them when I was coming the other way, and I'd seen the helicopter like carrying some of the line that had to go, and it was like, well, yeah, everybody's seen helicopters carry cargo. That's common, but to see it, it was like it was as still as a hummingbird beside that upright pole. It was just it was completely insane for both the people involved. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, on the way home, I crossed up into Canada a little sooner so that I could drive across Saskatchewan because I hadn't driven across Saskatchewan in a while. And there's a pretty Saskatchewan is part of the Canadian prairies. Um, and it's known for being super flat. This is why you can sort of see forever. And some people find that really boring. I find it really beautiful, especially at this time of year. That's canola, or what used to be called rapeseed when I was growing up. Is now called canola. It's they use they press it and they use it in they make vegetable oil out of it. Um, but it's the photo here barely does it justice. It's such a vivid yellow when the canola is in bloom. Just can't I can't my eyes can't get enough of it. And then that'll be harvested by within another 4 to 6 weeks, I suppose. But in a bunch of the other fields, by that time the wheat will have goldened out, and there'll just be endless fields of golden wheat, which is not as vibrant as this, but beautiful in the same way. Totally, totally loved getting a chance to drive back across Saskatchewan, because I haven't done that in a while. So that was great. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, yeah. If you've seen Saskatchewan, you know it's you know what to expect. Although when I was growing up, they didn't grow so much canola out there. It's become a more popular crop now. Yes, and I'm sure Brian's referring to the guy on the helicopter. Yeah, it better pay well. Absolutely. Oh, I think I just ditched my mouse. I better find it. I'll be right back. Or we'll be on this slide forever. My God, I'm too old to be crawling under desks. Okay, well that's the end of the slideshow. So yeah, there's not much corn. Canada, we don't grow too much corn in Canada. For one reason, in the States, the corn lobby is fantastic, and they've managed to get corn into so many products. Corn syrup is the #1 sweetener in the U.S. Corn is a top feed for hogs. And then of course the whole when you see when you go to the pumps and see the gasoline's got ethanol added, I think often that's made from corn as well. So the states have U.S. farmers have a good reason to grow a lot of corn. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, well, you could be right about that. They might be, because when you're talking about ecosystems, where Regina is your classic prairie grassland. It's like the Great Plains of the U.S. It's funny. I've been listening to the book tape of Lonesome Dove, and they're traveling across there, and all the guys from Texas, once they get up to the Great Plains, they're just freaked out because there's not a tree in sight, and that's just the way it goes. Yeah, well, yes, in Saskatchewan was where my traffic stop occurred. I must have told this to the folks on the Discord server, but I got pulled over by the RCMP in Saskatchewan, and I was speeding, but not, I was kind of speeding at the amount that everybody speeds. It's on good old highway #1, the Trans-Canada Highway. And the Mountie gets out, he's behind me, he gets out, he comes up to the car, and he comes up on the passenger side, which I'm sure is much safer, but it was like, oh, okay, well, I opened the passenger window, and I had my license and everything ready, but he wasn't really interested. I thought he was going to start with that, do you know why I've pulled you over kind of question. And it, instead, it just turns out that it was just a random thing and a random check, and he was also checking for intoxication, which was kind of funny because it was like 10 in the morning. But you know, somebody could have somebody could have still been hammered from the night before. Anyway, I we get to talking, and he's like, "Where are you coming from?" And I told him, you know, I was coming back from Minnesota and the game convention, and he's like, "Oh, you mean like chess and checkers and things like that?" And you know, not wanting to get into it, I say, "Yep, yep, just like that, risk, all that sort of thing." You know, who wants to get into explaining it? And then he says, "Oh, well, last week I pulled over this guy who he collects postage stamps. Can you believe that?" I guess he'd never heard of stamp collecting before, and you know, I suppose he was a younger guy, right? He looked like he was in his late 20s, early 30s, maybe. So, you know, when I grew up, stamp collecting was a thing, but I suppose maybe it's not a thing anymore the way it used to be when I was young. Anyway, we talk about that for a bit, and he just says to me, "Yeah, the people you meet on this highway." I guess a guy going to a game collection or a game convention and a guy who's a stamp collector. I guess that made his day. Anyway, it was it was fantastic. Oh, there you go. So, Thomas, are you down in southwestern Ontario? Uh, I spent a bit of time down there, and I noticed in southwestern Ontario they grew like a lot of tobacco and other crops that we generally don't grow in lots of the other parts of Canada, but they're it was they just have a little warmer growing season down there, like south of London and stuff like that. But I don't know, maybe not. Maybe more Canadian farmers are growing corn. Oh, northwest of Toronto. Well, okay, so it's well, that's still not too far. That's still not too far north. So, who knows? Anyway, um, it's not a huge crop up here in any case. At least not on the prairies where I've was born and raised and lived most of my life. Yeah, so that was funny. He let me go. Away I went and made it home in good time. A really good trip. I think the only thing I'd say is it was just a 2 day convention, and thank God Mike Zilla added you know a day ahead of time for people to do, because for anybody coming from out of town, uh, whether you're driving or flying or whatever you're doing, coming a long way, even a moderately long way, even if it was just like 8 hours driving, that's a long way to go for just a 2 day convention. Conventions need to be, I think, three at a minimum, and my favorite conventions are 4 days. I'm not, I don't know that I haven't tried doing the full week or the full 10-day thing. I don't, I don't know that I don't know that I have the stamina to do that anymore. But 2 days is too short. Yeah, that was that's exactly it. For anybody who doesn't know Dumpty here, he came from LA. So yeah, that Friday session was really important for both of us to justify the long travel, and it was great. That was where I played Masher. That was fantastic. Not to mention that we didn't play that at the convention hall. We weren't at Union Station. We were at a lovely big gaming store there. Had a just only had about 5 or 6 shelves of war games. Wasn't that kind of a gaming store, but it was big on miniatures, and they had a huge collection of Warhammer stuff. And my daughter's into painting that, so I bought her a couple of boxes of Warhammer stuff, of stuff that hasn't made it to our town yet. So there we go. Yeah, definitely fruit orchards down in Niagara, and also same thing in BC. But I'm talking about I'm talking about more like farm crops than um, orchards are a whole nother kettle of fish for sure. Yeah, same here, David. 4 to 5 is my limit. Uh, if I went to, I don't, if I went to Consim Worlds, I don't know that I would stay for the whole 10 days. I mean, I just don't know. Oh, that's interesting. That's the former headquarter of Fantasy Flight Games. That Games Center. It's a game center with a Z uh, instead of a C in the middle. That's well, it was a beautiful space. What I noticed, what was really cool was they had, a really big section for with just tables for gaming. But they had a section for painting, and not only that, they had a booth, a spray booth for doing for putting on your undercoat and with your white spray or gray or whatever you're going to use. Um, uh, do that in a little booth so that you don't have to go outside, but you also don't get get fumes all over the rest of the hall. Well, I'm here in Calgary. I'm pretty spoiled because we have a pretty great game store called the Sentry Box that's got just tons and tons of shelves of war games. And the owner, a guy, Gord Johansson, a guy I've known for 40 years. He's also he's never done things sort of the smart way in terms of the way retail works. In that he's not like just rapidly trying to turn over his inventory. So he's got he's got all the new games from the last 20 years or whatever, but he's also got games from 35 years ago, some in shrink, some lots. He also deals in used games, but he's got old games still that he's just like, the someday somebody's going to want this, and sure enough, someday somebody does. It's kind of wild. It's a great place to go if you're looking for something that you don't see anywhere else. That's for sure. I don't know. 10 days. I think it's the opposite of well. I mean, if it's all retirees, it's all retirees with a whole lot more energy and stamina than this retiree. I'll tell you that. Uh, there's also there's those guys that like to play monster games and want to play them for 7 or 10 days in a row. So I suppose maybe they do some of actually they do some of that at Constant World, don't they? I've never been a Constant Expo, but I thought that in the when that convention was first starting, when it was just like in its baby stages, didn't it start out as sort of a convention for uh, monster games where people could get together and play a game that they otherwise wouldn't? I seem to remember that was the origin story. Oh, oh, yeah. Um, we have the store I talked about here is a great store and has it started out as just a wargaming store, and now it's the war games are in the second floor, and on the main floor is hobby games, miniatures, and books. But we still have a big room of both war games and military miniatures. But we have a ton of other game stores that yeah, if they if you called them up and asked them if they had a war game, but their response might be that they have some Warhammer 40K stuff or something like that. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, and I do regularly drive from Calgary to California. Um, but you know, you put on the book tape or whatever, and you drive and you drive and you drive. I love to drive. I don't find that's there's something about playing games all day as much as I like it, but to do 10 days, 10 hours of gaming every day for days on end, it's just it's such a brain burn, right? I just get tired. But I mean, you know, I guess if I could afford the hotel for 10 days or something, and maybe if I just did gaming like 4 hours a day and then did an interview or two on top of that, maybe that would be all I really needed. Yes, it has been around for decades. Yeah, since 1980, basically. Yeah, for sure. The guy who owns it now, there's somebody else founded it and sold it within the first year to this fellow Gord, who he had a little business. He had an import business. He was basically selling games out of the back of his car. And when the original owner of the Sentry Box realized it wasn't for him, Gord bought it, and the rest is history. He's now in that the original look. It was called the Sentry Box because the original location was like um, it was smaller than Celine Dion's shoe closet. I'm sure, you know, like it was like it was like the width of a Sentry Box, and then maybe a little bit longer, that sort of thing. It was kind of it was kind of small, but he's on his third third location since then, and now it's big, and he'll never have to go anywhere else. Yeah, if you ever get to Calgary, you got to go to the Sentry Box and just find a game that you haven't seen in a long time, or you've always had your eye on, whatever. Yeah, yeah, you're probably too. You're probably that's probably right. Especially yeah, all the Western states. There's lots of wide open driving where it's not like a city after city after city the way it is in spots in the east, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I think 5 days is the longest con I've ever done, and that was that was plenty. But uh, every year I get a lot of pressure from friends and publishers even to come down to Tempe and do that. One year I suppose I'll have to give it a go now that I'm now that I'm retired and have more time. It just means I'd probably have to, you know, I have more time, but I don't have more money. So I'd probably have to give up one of my trips to California. And the two conventions that I go to in California, the real San Diego Histcon and the GMT weekend at the warehouse, they're such relaxed conventions. And they're only, you know, 150 to 200 people each. So they're not huge, not overwhelming. I find them they're just like the perfect tempo. I'm wondering if going to Concept Expo or even something bigger than that, if it would just be a little just too overwhelming for me. You know, overwhelming. Uh, I don't mean that I'd be overwhelmed and I'd be you know crying in a corner or something, but I just mean it just might be just too much to too much to take in and report on, and um, I don't know that I don't know. I'll have to go at some point, I guess. Um, yeah, well, you know what? Uh, the first part there, the hotel being expensive, that's a consideration. July being hot. Look, uh, I go to Hanford in April and I find it hot, right? Like I'm a, I'm a Canadian. I find it hot all the time when I'm in the States. I go to the San Diego convention in November, and I always forget to pack my shorts because it's November. Like my shorts are put away for the year, and then I get down there and it's like 80 above, or you know 78. It's not super hot, but that's still hot to me. It's yeah, yeah. You're totally right. Tempe does not cater to snowbirds at all. It's like 10% of Calgary goes to has a winter place in Tempe, Tempe, but nobody goes down there in the summer. They come home for the summer and go down there for the winter. That's I think they might attract more people if they hold the convention in the winter instead. But maybe I think Tempe attracts a ton of people in the winter, so maybe the hotels would be even more expensive if they held a convention in the winter. Who knows? Yeah. See, yeah, you see that, and then that, and you go like Tempe's a place where they have those things on the sidewalk where they just spray you, right? It's like, I don't, uh, that's no good for me. That's all I'm going to say. Not only am I Canadian, my ancestry is all Scandinavian. It's Icelandic and Swedish, Danish. Uh, I, I come from cold people. I'm not equipped for any of this 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just like, like why live there? That's what I say. That's crazy. But this is a yeah. I think you're quite right there, Skyrider. I think winter is tourist season in Arizona, and probably Consim Expo gets a cheaper rate for holding their thing in the summer. Yeah, that's probably all it is. As insane as it sounds to the rest of us, but that totally makes sense. Well, um, I guess we've kind of uh, wrapped up the topic for tonight. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, with winter, if I want to go outside, I put on my parka and my boots. But when it's 100 degrees outside, like, what am I supposed like? Even if I went out nude, I'd still be too hot. And, well, we just won't go into that. But it's like I can I can do things versus the cold, and I can't do anything versus the heat, and that's why uh, I stay a committed uh, uh, committed to my cold climate lifestyle. I don't find it cold here. It's it'll be in the summer here in Calgary. It'll be sort of we'll have 4 to 6 weeks that are in the where it ranges between 75 and 85, and that's I can live with that. That's fine. Uh, the springs and the falls are beautiful. It's 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 like 68 or 70, I think, if I convert it, and I can live in that kind of temperature uh, forever. So yeah, well, sure, or not, because if it's 114 and I'm outside, I shouldn't really run into anybody else who isn't also outside completely nude. It's crazy. Yeah, it's just yeah. Well, people who live there, they find some way to do it. So it's just a different way of living. That's all. Um, but it's not it's not a way that I'm used to. Yeah. Well, okay. So if you spent February's in Calgary, Bill, then you've likely seen it quite cold. But if you've also been here when the Chinook is here, you've seen it go from, well, let me try to do this in American temperatures. You might see it go from uh, well, anyway, what's 32 is freezing there. You might see it go from like 20 degrees to 45 degrees in a day. We have these in the wintertime. We have these winds that whip in every couple of weeks across they pile up over the Rockies and come back, and it just warms everything up. And in terms of in Celsius, it will go from -10 or -15 to above zero for a week, and then the snow will come back, and we'll do it all over again. It's uh, it's the thing I love the most about Calgary is that we get those reprieves from the winter that way. 300 kilometers up the highway in Edmonton, our provincial sister city, once the winter hits, it's winter until it's not winter anymore. We're more of a on a kind of a yo-yo in the winter. Oh, thanks very much, William. Oh, so this was interesting. Uh, when I looked at the hotel, uh, I stayed at the hotel the first the first hotel that was recommended, but it's like a really nice one, and I hadn't looked at it. They'd set up a thing to say how much they gave us a few recommendations on their Discord thing, and I think maybe Dave Poirier or somebody had looked at this one. It was like $300 a night for the 3 nights if you're going to stay Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it was like, well, I'm not staying there. That's crazy, especially because I knew I was going to also stay Thursday night. So I look at the other hotels, and then I was doing it a couple, a week later than who had ever posted those prices, and I what I did was I then I looked at that price again because I went, well, the hotels do that. They kind of can do that. They're like airlines. They do surge pricing sometimes. But I put in that fourth day, my rate wasn't $300. They average it out, right? My rate ended up not being $300 a night. It was $164 a night plus taxes. And the taxes were like something like $39. I mean, but you're going to pay that no matter where you go. So that was I didn't find that was I didn't find that expensive at all, and it was a gorgeous hotel. It was just it was another interesting building right downtown. It was a kitty corner to the train station. It was the original post office and customs house that was no longer used and was bought and turned into a hotel. So the ceilings in every room, but including my room, were 20 feet. You like to close the curtains, you had to. There was a little, bzzz, a little motor up there because there's no way you'd have been able to do it in any other way. Uh, uh, thanks very much, Jeff. There is a big one in Calgary every fall called FallCon. That's the main one, but it's like all kinds of board games. It's a really big convention, but wargaming is just a tiny part of it. There's a couple guys that organize smaller weekend themed wargame tournaments from time to time, and I haven't been a part of them at all in the past because I was always working weekends. Now that I'm retired, I'm going to check some of those out and find out if there's any that suit me. I know that there's one they run at the local. Used to be called the Museum of the Regiments. It's now, I think they just call it the Military Museum. But it's a great military museum. Way back in the day when I ran the local ASL club, I used to sometimes get space there once a month to hold the ASL club there. It was great. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. You're right, Thomas. Calgary's famous for it is technically possible to have snow, a freak snowstorm any month of the year. I don't think I've ever recalled one in August, but you could have one I can't remember, like it's probably been 15 or 20 years since there was one in July, but uh, one to have one snowy day in June is totally possible. I mean, the snow melts before, like the ground is not only there's heat radiating off. What I'm trying to say is the snow melts before it actually hits the ground, but it can happen. It does happen. There we go. Split room in Minnesota for 4 nights came to under a thousand. So your share was about 500, and so your room was then 250 250 a night. So but there was two of you, and I was just one. So um, thanks. Uh, it's funny you should say that. So, as everybody on the channel knows, we had the big renovation to the rest of the house, and then we had the flood in the basement. And so I totally renovated the basement and had them build those. I got rid of my old IKEA shelves, and I have built-in shelving over there. Anyway, finally had some had a group of friends over for dinner. We sort of like my wife and I and sort of three other couples. We get together like usually once a month to have dinner. We usually go out, out to a restaurant, but since our house was finally done and we got all the art back on the walls upstairs and all that kind of stuff, we finally had our friends over, and none of them are gamers. They're not interested in this stuff at all. But while I was upstairs cooking jambalaya, my wife gave them all a tour of the basement as well as the rest of the house, and and two of the wives both came up and said, I don't know anything about I don't know anything about games, but man, your game collection looks fantastic on that wall. Like, it's so colorful. It looks so great. And I felt good about that. I also thought, yeah, it sort of does. I've got them all, they're all sorted basically by publisher. So you can, the colors kind of, or the sizes and looks, things look kind of good. Anyway, I was pleased to see somebody appreciated the aesthetics of it on top of just them for what they are, games. Yeah, that's we definitely yep, can't deny that the chuck wagon races, and I got to say I do love them. I love watching the chuck wagon races. Um, uh, but every once in a while there's an accident. The horse has to be put down. Doesn't happen as often as it used to because I don't know, maybe 5-10 years ago they changed how they did it, and now it's three. Each heat has three wagons instead of four, so there's quite a bit more room out there. But accidents do happen. On the other hand, I also love watching the bull riding. At the Stampede, where I feel like the bull riding is where the animals really get their own back and toss those cowboys around pretty good. Anyway, yeah, I'm not a big Stampede or rodeo guy at all, but I'm not in terms of the rodeo part. I kind of enjoy the rodeo more than the Stampede part, which is the midway and all the rest of that kind of stuff. Anyway, I hope I answered your question, William, about how much it costs. So David there, Dumpty, his rooms actually cost a little more than mine. Mine were either 164 a night or 174 a night plus tax. So that came out to about 200 a night. But then of course I also had to get a hotel on the way there and back. That hotel in Medora, or whatever, Medora, that was more expensive. I think that cost me $250. That was an expensive hotel room, and it was just because that's what was there. You're in a tourist town and you don't have much choice. But on the way back, I stayed in Swift Current, Speedy Creek, to anybody around here. Swift Current, Saskatchewan. I stayed in a Days Inn, and it only cost me $130 Canadian. So much cheaper. No, didn't break the budget on that. And I have to say, the food in Minnesota or in St. Paul was not super expensive at all. It was no more than it was probably less than what I usually pay it when down in San Diego, for example. And San Diego, you might think should be really expensive, but on the other hand, San Diego's got just so many restaurants. The prices aren't too bad because there's plenty of competition. So I know that the people in St. Paul, they had some, like, the whole thing was organized, of course, by Harold Buchanan and Andrew Buckles and Pat and all the people from San Diego Histcon. But they of course had local folks from Minnesota, from Minneapolis and St. Paul, organizing it on their end. And I met one of the guy, Ryan, Ryan something. Anyway, there we good. Yeah, that's all right. You're here for the bullshitting portion, Brant. That's okay. I did put your notice of the fall convention in the news segment, but that was long ago. Anyway, the the local Minnesota guys were very vocal by the end of the convention about saying, "Hey, this went really well, San Diego. You need to do it here again next year." They were there was like no need to go back to the East Coast to the Naval Museum or wherever you were before. This was great. Let's do it again. So uh, um, who knows? The folks from SD Hist were super happy with how it all went, I think, and very kind to their Minnesota co-hosts, but they were completely non-committal about whether they would do it there again. Schneider, there it is, Ryan Schneider. I was close. I think I said, I might have even said Schneider. I bet he does. Anyway, it would not surprise me if they decided to go back there again. The only reason I could see that they wouldn't is because I remember years ago talking to Harold, and his original idea for the San Diego Histcon, that it wasn't at Histcon, was he wanted to do it at a different place all the time. Like he called it pop-up conventions. So have one at the Naval Museum, have one in Minneapolis, whatever. That was his original idea. But the thing is, the one at the Naval Museum went so well that they immediately went, we're going to do this again next year at the Naval College, or where, I think, yeah, wherever it was, that first pop-up one. And then the U.S. got the new administration, and all of a sudden, the government was shutting down government institutions all over the place. And the people, as I understand it, it wasn't San Diego Histcon's call, but the people at the War College or War Museum, whatever, I don't know, whatever it was, said, look, we can't book you because we don't really know if we're going to be open next summer or not. And so that's when SD Hist, I think, went back to their plan of looking for someplace else. But now that they found another place that went great, maybe they're going to have the same feeling they had when they were at the on the East Coast, and maybe they'll go, okay, we're going to set down here. I don't know. It's I'm sure there's tons of other cities that would be just so happy to host this thing, for sure. Oh, well, there you go. So maybe if you live in a city that doesn't have a good convention, you can just sit and wait for either the Armchair Dragoons or San Diego Histcon folks just to come to your city, or come to a city close to you. Uh, yeah, I think there was definitely some people who arrived by train. I'm pretty sure I talked to somebody who took the Amtrak uh, to St. Paul. That's I envy you. Way back a zillion years ago, when Mulroney was our prime minister, he shut down the Via terminal here in Calgary. We haven't had a Via. We haven't had proper train service here since I was still in my what 17. So there you go. Yeah. All the folks living there had a great time too. That was something else I didn't really mention tonight, but what was super interesting too was I felt like I did a whole bunch of stuff at the convention I I did 5 interviews. I played 5 games. Went out to dinner a couple times and did a lot of just like, you know, meeting people, talking to people, and there was a whole whack of things going on that I just didn't even like have time to sit down and have a look at. There was tons of games that I just didn't even take in. And when I look at pictures of the convention, I see dozens and dozens and dozens of people that I just didn't interface with at all. So you know, uh, I feel like I know more people down in California. I guess maybe it's because I've gone there a few more times. Who knows? Speaking of people that I wanted to spend more time with, I did meet John. Is it Lapham or Lapham? I don't know. Lapham. Anyway, he's got a game that's just about to P500, I think. Uh, and I met him on the first day and meant to interview him. But by the time I was doing my big interview blitz on the second day, when I caught 4 people, I didn't catch up with him. But if it's any consolation to John, I also missed Volko on that one as well. So um, that's the way she goes. Yeah, uh, you know, you now that you've seen pictures of how tall I am, I hate airplanes. I'd rather spend a long day on the train than 2 hours in a plane. It's just uh, plane travel has gotten to be just terrible. In fact, um, I I do it as little as possible. I mean, you know, I still travel with my wife a bit, and if I do, if I can find a way to upgrade, I will. I just cannot fit into the current size seats for economy class tickets anymore. I mean, I'm sure Wolf Dog's the same way. Oh, there you go. So John's game went live. That's great. Good to know. And yes, I met Stephen here. Uh, he's been around these live chats before. Got to meet him and have a beer with him at the. He's somebody I first met at the pregame mixer there. So, um, but it turns out we have a ton of games in common. So we had plenty to talk about there. Uh, well, that's funny because, but you probably did it. Maybe you did that in one day, right? Because Bill, I had a 20-hour drive to get home, and the way I did it was I on the first day I drove 15 hours, and then had a nice sleep in, and then just had a leisurely 5 hours the next day. I was home by one in the afternoon, and that was that was you know 15 hours is kind of pushing it, but I find I can always drive on the first day of a drive. I can go at least I can do at least like 10 hours in my sleep. I can generally do at least 12 hours. Yeah, yeah, exactly. 6'4", you're feeling it. I'm 6'6", and Wolf Dog 6'8". It's just like uh, yeah, it's terrible. And not only that, like I'm wide as well as tall. I'm big every goddamn way. Planes hate me. People who own plane companies hate me. It's terrible. Yeah, of course. Yeah, one day an 11-hour drive. If you're not like I like driving. I'm not somebody who doesn't like that. So if driving isn't one of your kind of pleasures in life, 11 hours is a long, yeah, that, that's exactly it. Good. It's not just me, right? It's like, it's not like it's not just that I have a fat ass or anything. It's like my hips, like they clink on the armrests on the way through. It's just, yeah, yeah. Well, here we go now. There we go. 6, 7. Exit row, upgrade or forget it. Exactly. Exactly. That's uh, that's the only way I can fly. But Um, one of the local one of the local airlines out of Calgary, this outfit called WestJet, they've got this thing where you you buy a regular ticket and then you can later upgrade it. They've they've made it not as they used to be. You could put bids in on the upgrade, and you could often get a upgraded to their well, they don't have a great business class, but at least you'd be at the front of the plane where there's all the room, and whoever bid the most would get it. But it's they've made it a little trickier. But anyway, I just about always upgrade when I fly with them now. Yeah, there we go. So, I think we could just say that everybody's feeling it. The the airlines are the airlines are killing us, and uh, something needs to be done about it. Yeah, yeah. There you go. You, I'll gladly pay an extra $100 to not get deep vein thrombosis while I'm flying across some damn ocean. Yeah. No, no. I'm driving a Hyundai Santa Fe hybrid. So in terms of the cost, the I used to have a Hyundai Santa Fe, just regular Santa Fe, and I would get I would get about around 500 kilometers on a tank of gas. And now that I have a hybrid, I'm getting about 950 kilometers on a tank of gas. Little less highway because you use the it flips over to the electric a little more often in urban driving, but still at least 800 kilometers. So so it was having a hybrid was a great way to save money in terms of travel for sure. Yeah, you there's multiple ways to do it to hit no big cities. Absolutely, I could have picked between four or five different routes and still not hit a big city. In fact, I almost just because I wanted to go to not a big city, but I would have liked it if I'd actually. What I did is I drove down to Great Falls and then headed east. But I would have liked to go even farther south and gone all the way to Helena because Helena is just a gorgeous little city, and then headed east. And then I would have went through South Dakota instead of North Dakota, but it would have added 3 hours to the trip. So yeah, I decided not to do it that way. Yeah, yeah. I was working out at the Stratford Festival in Ontario years ago, and when I drove out there, and it was in February, instead of driving like way up across the top of the Great Lakes, like the Sioux and Thunder Bay and all that, I went into the States and went down past Chicago and Detroit, and then popped back up at Windsor and did it that way. I felt the weather and the roads were going to be better from um, in February to drive all that far. Wyoming is fantastic. Wyoming's great. South Dakota's great. I was down in South Dakota a few years ago. Uh, did Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. Took my daughter to the Little Bighorn and poked around there, and she wasn't as excited about it as I was. But I'd been there once, like way back in like 1976 when I was just a kid, so it was really cool to go back and see it again. I love the North, not the Pacific Northwest. I mean, I love the Pacific Northwest is great, but the Northwest of the U.S. There's some beautiful country there. Well, anyway, yeah, I'm I'm it was good to see you too out there, John. It was a total pleasure to play with you. But I think I better wrap this up. We're over 2 hours now, so we could sit and talk about travel logs all night long. But it's time to wrap it up. I totally appreciate everybody who came by tonight just to talk about a convention. I didn't really have a lot to tell anybody about games or anything like that tonight, but I think we had some interesting stuff, so that's good. Um, yeah, the I don't I don't know how long I-70 or I-80 is, but I've definitely I've definitely done some long ones. Anyway, there you go. Okay, good night, everybody. We'll see you next time. I don't know if next time will be a teach and play or not. We'll see. If not, I'll have something. I'll have a bunch of slides and we'll all look at them. All right. See you all next time. Have a good night.